Today we are going to talk about fake memory cards, prices that are too good to be true. Well, there are a lot of them out there, and basically what a fake memory card is, and I got one over here. Here's a micro SD card. It's probably not even going to focus in on it. Let's try focus tracking. There we go. Now the camera will track the memory card, quite literally. See how that says 128 gigabytes? Well, it's not 128 gigabytes. It is in fact 16. And the deal with that is basically, of course, mostly from China, and you got Singapore, Taiwan, countries where they manufacture memory cards. They will take the reject cards, or the low quality, the slow ones, or so on and so forth, and they will hack the software on the card. They will what am I thinking? Brain fart here. Didn't have coffee. I should have had coffee. They will hack the software on the card to make the card appear that it is larger than it really is. So we're going to put this here. Let me bring up. Show you. Well, I'm not going to show you because it'll take too long. That card's slower than heck. So we'll put that there. But basically, the card will show up on your computer as being the 128 gigs. But when you actually try to copy stuff, it'll let you copy 128 gigs to it. But when it goes time to retrieve, whatever the real size of the card is all you're going to get back. All the rest of the data after that will just be errored out. So this little micro SD is actually 16 gigs, not 128. So I could copy, if I format it, I could copy up to 16 gigs or whatever the formatted max size is before I could not copy any more to it. Or anything after that would be gone. So actually what I do use this one for non-critical stuff, what I do is I'll copy music onto that and use that in my well, it's Bluetooth, but it's also, you can also put an SD memory card in it. I think I got, what do I got in there now? I got a really old 2 gig PNY in there. I hate PNY. God, most of them, other than the fake cards, it's always been reliable. But so I use it for copying music onto, something where I'm not going to lose it if I go over that limit, but then I have some, some tunes to leave in there, and I'm not missing a good memory card. Well, what intrigued me, because I've used Transcend in the past, and so far Transcend has been awesome memory cards. Well, it intrigued me. I came across this little bugger, and I know it's got to be fake for the price I paid. I paid $10 for 128 gig Class 10 memory card. Now, it's just a plain Class 10, not a UHC, do they call it? Well, my good memory card's in this camera because I'm recording at 100 megabit per second. But I wanted something that I could copy to. Basically, my home internet's too slow. So I transfer everything to either a portable hard drive or a memory card, and I have a seed computer set up at my parents' home as they have 5 megabit upload compared to my slow freaking upload that I have at home. So basically I can upload something in one day at their house that would take over a week at my house, which is important when you're making half your living off of YouTube. So price intrigued me, and given PayPal's protection policies and whatnot, if it does turn out to be fake, I'm pretty confident I will get my money back. If it turns out to be real, I will be ordering 20 more. It's pretty much that simple. Let's get a close look at this. Now, as you can see, it's not in English, obviously. They've copied the real look of the packaging pretty close, and if I didn't know better, I'd say this was, if this was all in English, I'd say this was a real card. For starters, though, the label is it's going to be hard to see on the camera, but the label is a little blurred. So the printing is not the best. But then again, if this is a real card, it was meant for a lower income market. So let's get this bugger open. And then we're going to use this neat program called H2 Test W. I just want to try and keep this packaging as intact as possible. You know what? I'd like to get a picture of it real quick before, just so I have something to make a thumbnail on. There we go. So much for keeping the packaging intact. All right. Okay, first closer look. And now, one thing I found is almost all the fake cards say made in Taiwan, not China, Taiwan. There we go. They'll have all the official looking numbers on there and so on and so forth. And now let's get a closer look at the labeling. Come on. Touch focus. Touch focus. You just focused on the back. Why can't we focus on the front? There. Let's see if I bring it closer now. I think right there is about the limit. The label looks a little more like an inkjet printed label on a sticker. It's not centered on the little grooves that were put out for the label. Other than that, SDHC. Oh, there you go, right there. And how did I didn't catch that earlier? It says SDHC. All 128, actually all cards that are larger than 32 gigs will be actually SDXC. SDHC style cards have a maximum size of 32 gigs. So right there we know it is a fake. So why don't we put this bugger to the test? Fortunately, my USB 3.0 card reader bit the dust for SD cards. I guess when you buy it for $1 with free shipping, it won't last too long. Alright, let's see. We'll even read. Yep. Alright, let's focus in on the screen now. We had an angle here. $128 gigs free of 124 because it's the formatted. So let's just see if I can copy something to it. Oh, what do I got that I can copy? Let's see if it copied. So it's got some real capacity. Alright, so now let's do the real test here. Alright, close that picture. Delete. Don't need that. Don't need that. Now we have H2T, or H2 Test W. I believe it's a German program, and this is like the de facto standard for testing SD memory cards, or any memory whatsoever. So I switched to English because I don't speak, Alright. Remove, I gotta see if that's the right one. Yeah, it is K. Not my 15 terabytes storage RAID. Okay, did I delete that picture? Yeah, that's gone. Alright, we're going to do all available memories, all available space. Now the nice thing about this program is it writes and then it can verify the memory. So we're going to get to find out, after it's done filling up what it thinks is the entire card, or in this case 127 gigs with 968 megabytes. It has some sort of numerical sequence that it writes about 1 gigabyte files in this case. And this will first tell us how fast the card is, and then it'll tell us how many megabytes it's written, and the amount of time it's taken so far, and about how much time is remaining. We'll leave it go for just a minute here so you can see a bit. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to probably think this card is the usual over the last year or so has been about 16 gigs. So I'm going to expect that, well, it's going to try and write, it will try and write up to 128 gig, we'll just round say because it's a 120 gig card. It'll try and write up to the 128 gigs, and then when it goes to verify, it will only be able to verify the data integrity of that first bit of data. It will then also tell us what the read speed is. And so far, Class 10 card is supposed to be 10 megabytes per second. And so far we're at 9.63, and it's climbing. And the USB memory card reader I'm using is very low quality as well. It was my backup one. Funny thing, I'm done buying the expensive readers. Every time I buy the expensive one, nice, good, high-end, high-quality one that works great, I lose it, or Vinny breaks it. So I buy the cheap ones, and somehow I never lose them, and they last for a very long time. Go figure. So we're at to 9.9 megabytes per second, 9.1, 9.2, still climbing. So for starters, it is hitting the advertised Class 10 minimum. So that means it's going to be the minimum speed of 10 megabit. 9. Oh, there we go. We just hit the advertised speed. Now, packaging says 20 megabytes per second, or 133x. So this has to hit 20, and even though that reader's USB 2.0, it should still hit it. Just reading the packaging here. I mean, shoot, if like I said, if this was in English, I mean, I'd swear this was a legitimate card. That's how sneaky these phonies have been getting. quite sad, actually. So I will let this go, and when it is done, I will fire up the camera again, and we will see what the result is. Okay, as you can see, H2 test W has completed its test, and now, well, basically now we get to see the results. First result, let's zoom in just a bit. You'll notice pink and red. That means card failed miserably, which any failure is pretty much a miserable fail. First, you'll see the number of megabytes it tested, the amount of time it took to write to the card, and the average speed. I noticed after it got past the point where the storage was no longer real, it was all fake storage, that's when the speed started dropping down. Otherwise, I saw as high as about 15 megabytes per second. Advertised on the package was 20, and the class says minimum of 10. So, fair. Next, this media is likely to be defective, and sorry, I can't expand this anymore, but I can highlight. This media is likely to be defective. 7.5 gigabytes okay in the number of sectors. So that basically means out of the entire drive, only the first 7.5 gigabytes are real. Everything else is fake. 117.3 gigabytes of data were lost. 0 kbytes overwritten. 0 kbytes slightly changed, which means out of the sectors that were real, those sectors were reliable. And that would be 117.3 gigs corrupted. So lost, corrupted, pretty much the same thing. Then it goes into details, hexadecimal with the errors, blah, 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 and the version. So the average write speed was 8.71. Out of what it could read, it was 17.5, which was good. So this media is in fact fake. Let's unplug it here. Fake, fake, fake. So, let's get a light on. Okay, so this card is fake. Let's zoom out just a little bit again. Full screen the camera. Let's see what some real 128 gig Transcend flash cards are. Another thing I forgot to mention is the Transcend logo is usually a nice pinkish red, brighter color. Not so on this one. Let's start with, now I got these pictures off of, oops, wrong screen. There we go. I got these pictures off of Amazon. So first we'll notice 128 gigabytes. Okay, looks pretty much the same as the card that's in my hand. Transcend, it has the arrow, good, same. Got the yellow little lock button, got a little cutout, blah blah blah. This one, lock is facing up and down. On the fake card in my hand, lock is left to right with a little dot. Next, 30 megabytes per second, 200x. We don't have any x speeds on the fake card. This one is a class 10, and it's UHC 1 or I1, blah blah blah, whatever, close enough. And it also says SDXC trademark. Fake card says SDHC. Remember what I said before? SDHC means Secure Digital high capacity cards go up to 32 gigs and 128. That's tip-off number 1. Next, the speeds are a little higher than what this card doesn't even, the fake card doesn't even have the speed. Let's go on to the next picture. It's kind of neat. Pretty standardized there. Now this, this one is a UHC one, 128 gigs. Now this is a much faster card. But just to compare again, another 128 SDXC. And here, I thought you all would find somewhat interesting. It's just kind of a chart of the some of the different cards and capacities. Let's go down here. I screenshotted these with a iPad Mini. Okay, 2 gig SD, 4 gig SDHC high capacity. You can also, I think, just standard digital, secure digital without the high capacity. Actually, I think it goes up to 8 gig, but nobody makes them anymore. There are some people, or some that are making smaller capacities for legacy equipment that can't handle SDHC or SDXCs. Okay, so that goes up to 32 gigabytes. Now let's go up to premium. It's actually easier to read if I zoom out. The premium SDHC ends at 32 gigs, 200x, and notice it still has the X speed on them. All of them look like, except these couple down here, have the X speed. How many X? And 32 gig SDHC. Once it jumps to 64 gig SDXC 128, which that 128 is pretty much supposed to be what I have in my hand, a premium card, not the high end. Different. We'll go up to, actually it is premium, but blah blah blah, whatever. Go up. Now these are black cards, and these cards have a rating, they're still premium, but they have a rating of a UHS 1. So they can be, that means it's a whole different speed level, more for using with your video cameras or very high data recording rates. Now these would be good for, say, your 1080p high definition camcorders. Then we go up to the ultimate. These are faster yet. Now I still go up HC up to 32 gigs, XC. Now this is an older chart, but it's the most recent I could find in the time I had to play around. And so I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, these cards go up to like 512 gigs now. So we got for these that was this one right here, top of the line as of this chart was made. And one more. This is like the top of the line speed at the moment. It's a class 10 UH. I can never remember it right. UHS class 3. This one means it will be able to keep up with a write speed suitable enough for 4K Ultra HD video recording at speeds up to like 100 megabit per second. While burst speed recording, I mean, on some cards can be quite fast, it's the sustained recording speed. And for 100 megabit per second, that sustained recording can really take a toll on a card, especially the smaller the cards get. I mean, if this was a real 128 gig micro SDHC card, this sucker would get so hot recording at 120 or 100 megabits per second. It would get very hot, and in fact they do. The smaller you make it, the warmer it's going to get. So I hope. Oh, I think I had one more. Okay, so you saw that one. Now here, this is a fake card. This was also an Amazon picture, and every single review under this one said fake, 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 doesn't have the real capacity. Let's just notice some differences though. Same color plastic. I can't hold on to this thing. Same color plastic. I know it's hard to see with the camera and the lighting in the room. The lock is different. Notice the lock the same as the one on my card. SD XC. Now this one actually does say XC, so they caught on and changed that, whereas the one in my hand is HC. So I might have gotten an older batch of these buggers. It still has just the class 10. If it's an XC, let's see, what does it do with XC? Yay, it looks like all the XCs should have the I, or the 1, or the UHS I or 1. It's missing that. And that's just about it. I mean, it's missing some crucial information on it. So just watch out. There's a lot of fakes. If something's too good to be true, price-wise, it probably is. Fake, real. Oh, oops. Oh, come on. Fake, real, real, real. Fake, real. Fake, real. Fake, real. Got it? Good. Hope you were able to learn something. Try and avoid these little buggers. Like I said, for the price I got this for, free shipping. Actually, this one came out of... Got it quick, too. This one came out of Singapore, actually. Oh, though I remember the old days of dealing with Singtel. They even overstated the value. How about that? Singapore Post. So, hope you learned a bit. And don't fall for the fake cards. You will lose your data. The number of people that I see buying the fake cards, popping them in their phones, cameras, taking pictures and pictures and pictures and pictures and pictures, and ending up with, well, maybe a couple gigs, and then the rest of them are just gone. Yeah. As long as we're at it, I'll show you guys something neat. I've had this one. I mean, this is a real card. This one is a SanDisk. It's an old one. I had a netbook, a Dell Mini 9. I still use it. I use this kind of just for transferring YouTube videos over to it yet. I mean, it's still 16 gigs, but I get some that are under that. Got a little light going here. I mean, this is old. It's a class 4, and it only is about 4 megabytes per second, so it's slow. But just to show, let's see if we can get... time to resolder my flashlight. Oh. Ah, forget it. Grab the iPhone. There we go. If you can see it, it's actually hollow on the bottom there. Kind of neat there. The actual memory is only taking up where my finger is, right there, and higher. So you can kind of see the cutoff. So everything is in this top little portion here. All 16 gigs. That means all this empty space here, it's just filler plastic. They could have easily added more memory there, but of course, double the memory, quadruple the price. So, Well, now I'm going to take a picture of this and send that on off to PayPal for my refund on the card. Maybe if enough people buy them and do refunds and chargebacks on these scammers, they'll stop selling it. I mean, if they would have advertised for the price I paid, if they would have advertised it as an 8 gig card, I mean, that would have been on a little bit of a high end for an 8 gig card. But, I mean, like this one, I paid the same price for this little micro SD HC card. I mean, if they would have advertised this one as a 16 gig card instead of a 128 gig card, and I knew it was a 16 and it worked like a 16, so I wouldn't have to worry about copying data to it and losing it, guess what? The price I paid for this, I would have been happy as a peach. But they lied. And if I copy just a little bit too much, that data is gone. So that goes into my bin of throwaway media for my media player. Salute! Smile, cheese!